Welcome back, everyone. It is the Unash and Dukes podcast coming your way here on crmlivesports.com, as well as our Facebook page, YouTube, under the Unash and Duke podcast. And you can also get the link on X or Instagram, wherever you follow us, and we thank you for doing so. We are presented by Emel's Hideaway, First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids. They're right across from the Lindale Mall and next to the Home Depot, open Monday through Saturday at 4 o'clock. And we thank them so very much for helping us out. Probably not open on Thanksgiving, Mark Dukes, because like me, celebrating Thanksgiving, and a happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, but also probably having their meal digestion spoiled by the fact that the Chiefs are going to be playing tomorrow against the Cowboys. So, they're all big Chiefs fans.
Not all of them, Scott.
Not all of
I
them?
got a couple Tampa Bay fans in there. Chris and Nate are Tampa Bay fans.
Man. So Jamie can just, beat up on them during
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
you can have a love fest with Jamie. Okay.
Oh, well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We got a Wednesday show with our friend Mark Ironside, the Hall of Famer, and we're going to get to wrestling coming up in just a moment. Pretty big weekend of wrestling coming up with the Cyhawk Series, Iowa and Iowa State, over at Hilton Coliseum in Ames. So we're going to talk about that and other things. And of course, a big thanks to Kurt Gustafson, Agency of American Family Insurance. Kurt is the sponsor of our segment with Mark Ironside. And Kurt, right across from the Johnson Avenue Hy-Vee on Johnson Avenue Northwest in Cedar Rapids. And we thank him so very much for helping us out. And, as you can see, Mark is in his palatial den today. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, pretty happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well too. So be safe tomorrow. Don't eat too much and then get into a coma. You gotta make sure you're marginal with everything and you space it out, not all at once.
That's the key.
That
That is
is
the
the
key.
key.
All right. No hunting today because this is the Wednesday, and I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't be specific, Mark Dukes, on podcast days, but I will break the rule there because you can't bow arrow hunt with the wind at about 45 miles per hour. That just doesn't work. It reminds me of the football game at Soldier Field that one year where all the footballs were going 30 yards in one direction. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I was you can't shoot arrows in this kind of wind, that's for sure. So I was hoping to get down this weekend, but I don't know. We'll see what the weather does. But I remember one time I was out in Colorado mule deer hunting and I had a buck below me and it didn't feel windy where I was at because I kind of had a rock cliff face blocking me. But it was like an 80-yard shot. It was a long shot for a mule deer. But my arrow, when I shot, it was flying so good. And then as soon as it cleared that rock face and it hit the wind, it literally took my arrow sideways. And it threw my arrow literally probably 4 feet in front of the deer. Like wasn't even close. The deer has no idea to this day that I even flung an arrow at it. Like it didn't even phase it. It was so windy. It just took the arrow, turned it sideways, and threw it off like 5 feet from where I was aiming. So yeah,
Have
you
you
can't
had any
fight
luck
enough.
this year, Mark?
What's that?
Have you had any luck this year?
Well, no, I have not. I think we talked about elk. I came close, but no cigar. It was fun, as always. Lots of good memories and stories and adventures. But deer, I haven't been out that much, honestly. I got out last weekend for basically the first full weekend all year that I could hunt. And of course, beautiful weekend. It'd be a good lawn mowing weekend in November, but not so good for deer movement, when it's 70 degrees outside. But I did see Sunday morning, I had the biggest buck on all my cameras that I could possibly shoot walk by me at like 5 yards and never had a clue I was there. But I maybe regrettingly let him walk and let him go to grow bigger for next year where he'll be a absolute giant. And as I say, if you shoot him at 160 inches, you can't shoot him when he's 180 inches. So That's my logical thinking. But with shotgun season coming up and getting hunted really hard by shotgun hunters down there, chances are I probably won't see him next season.
The story is to be continued.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know throughout the wrestling season. If I get him back on camera after shotgun season, I have something really exciting to look forward to come next fall.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, let's get started. Last Friday night, you stayed up perfectly through the whole thing, so that's good. Good on you, by the way. Shutout. You don't get many shutouts in wrestling.
No, you don't. You
and
really, really don't.
Hawks shut out Pitt, and that's good news. I guess the rumors of Ben Keeter's demise and injury went to the sideline.
It's a miracle.
He's like a soccer player.
Or an NBA basketball player.
And so good night at Carver Hawkeye Arena all around.
It was a really good night. We brought a lot. I mean, I think, I don't know if it had something to do with the Ohio State duel not going that great, or if it was more so maybe Iowa State coming up and just kind of getting ramped up for that, or just, it was just the next thing on the schedule. It was a good home crowd in Carver Hawkeye Arena. But we, for the most part, came out and wrestled and put a lot of points up on the scoreboard. We unfortunately didn't get any falls. Me, I like pins, but we put a lot of points up on the scoreboard. We scored more often in the first period. So it was a really good duel all over. 25, a little bit slow. We didn't really do much there. And 41, those two matches were pretty kind of lackluster. But besides that, those other 8 weight classes and some more than others, it was entertaining. It was good. It made the dual meet go by pretty fast and exciting, and I was able to stay awake for the whole thing.
And Moadine was the star.
He was. Boy, wasn't that something?
Yeah.
Boy, he has become an Iowa Hawkeye wrestling fan favorite really quick. I tell you, he's that the way that he did that too, with just continually to keep attacking in order to get that last takedown. And Stout was playing the edge. I mean, he was playing the clock, playing the edge, but it was snap, underhook, throw by. It was like 4 things in a row to finally get to the attack and knowing where he was at on the edge of the mat too, and be able to keep that one toe in bounds and having great mat awareness. It was awesome to see, and the crowd just absolutely loved it. But the thing is he didn't wait until the very, very end, even though it happened at the very end. He was putting a lot of pressure on him throughout the whole third period and throughout the match. But Stout's style, he would just back up, and as we'd come into him, he'd shoot. And he'd back up, he'd come in and he'd shoot. And just luckily for us, it worked out in the end.
He's up to number 4 rated now. I mean, other Iowa wrestling fans, et cetera, in their wildest dreams, could they not have pictured the start that Endine has put together?
He's won some big matches. I mean, some big matches when it counted. And it's going to have to continue this Sunday as well, too. And it's going to be his biggest test of all so far, in the most hostile environment he's probably ever been part of. In his entire wrestling career, or possibly even be part of his entire wrestling career, against the number 2 Division I ranked 97 pounder in the country, the portal transfer from Missouri, Rocky Elam, and he's a really, really good wrestler, and he's ranked number 2 for a reason. And so he's going to be tested in a very, very hostile and tough environment. This is going to be probably the biggest test for him, not just from his opponent's standpoint, but also from the environment standpoint. And I guess if you're looking to come to Iowa and people are looking to come to Iowa, this is one of the biggest reasons you come to Iowa, because you're in positions like this on a regular basis. You go into hostile environments on a regular basis, but there is no more of a hostile environment, even including like Penn State or something, or even Oklahoma State. There's no more of a hostile environment than Hilton Coliseum. They don't let Iowa fans in that building. It just doesn't happen. And this is something they gear up for. Those Iowa State fans, you hear the saying all the time, and I can say stuff like this now that we're not on radio too and not have to worry about it, but there's a lot of Iowa haters out there. I mean, they just love to hate Iowa. And that's Iowa State for you. And this is like the biggest thing of the entire year for them is this dual meet this Sunday on regular ESPN at high noon. It's like high noon. It's like a showdown in the old Western days, you know?
Mark, before we break this down even further, I'm curious if you have a favorite memory, personal or otherwise, memory or two of the Iowa State series.
You know, it's kind of funny. A wrestling coach sent me a match. I think it's off of YouTube. I got it on my phone. I should send it to you guys. Sent me a match from the I. He said he was showing his son, who's starting to wrestle, some Iowa State matches here a while back and getting ready and geared up. They're in Iowa State country, and but they're Hawkeye fans, so they found some old matches. So anyway, he sent me this match, and I have never to this day seen this match on video, on anything, ever since I wrestled the match. I didn't even know it existed. I don't think I even watched it after I got done wrestling, because back then we didn't have video like this. I don't think I went back and into our video room on VHS and rewatched this match, you know? So it was kind of cool to me because I don't even remember really honestly how the match went, how it happened or anything, but I was wrestling a guy by the name of Clethadian Tate. I was a sophomore, I believe, at the time, because I was scheduled to wrestle there my freshman year, and I got hurt and I couldn't. And I got hurt in practice. I sprained my ankle the night before, and Gable wouldn't let me wrestle. But anyway, this Clethadian Tate, he was a high school national champion. I mean, he was really, really good. And I don't remember what he was ranked when I was ranked. It probably said on there or whatever. But he was really good. But it's my first time ever in Hilton Coliseum in that type of environment, of exactly what I was just talking about. And it was really kind of fun to see and go back and kind of see that and relive it a little bit. But as far as memories go, there's been so many. There's been so many that Iowa State was supposed to win and they didn't. And those are probably my favorites. Just like a couple years ago when we were there, you know, where on paper they're picked to win. And you know, it depends on what ranking you look at. I mean, we're either third and they're sixth, or we're fourth and they're third. I mean, we're right there with each other right now. But you know, maybe not me wrestling, but man, there's just been some phenomenal matches over the years. Because I didn't have anybody from Iowa State besides that Clethadian Tate that ended up being an All-American. He was really good. But you know, Doug Schwab, stalling out Dwight Hinson, that was pretty cool and entertaining. Obviously, we could always talk about the Brooks Simpson versus Eric Volker match, you know, and go back to there. You could go back to the Roy Salger versus Kevin Jackson days, you know, and the Gibbons brothers when they wrestled. And, you know, you could go into Tom or Terry Brands versus Dan Knight, some of those matches. And I mean, you could just go on. And there's just been so many great duels and so many matchups over the years. And this Sunday, you're going to have 10 of them. There's 10 matches this Sunday that literally could go either way. I mean, maybe not 10, but probably 8 matches, 7, 8 matches that could go either way. It's like, this is going to be an interesting roller coaster of a dual meet.
With that being said, then.
Did I talk too long there?
No, you did great. What, one or two keys, one or two big matches, the biggest in your minds anyway, the biggest weight classes that, you know, Iowa has to win or Iowa State has to win to break this long losing streak, what would they be?
What is the losing streak? I have it down at 20. Iowa's won the last 20 straight duels against Iowa State. 20. And then on top of that, they've won the last 35 out of 36. So in the last 36 meetings, Iowa has only lost one time. And that's what I'm saying. Iowa State, this is a enormous duel for these guys. I mean, this is like a national championship for them. And they'll probably say, whatever, you know what it is. I mean, it is. It really, really is. As far as key matchups go, I think where we have the opportunity to get bonus, we really, really need to capitalize and get bonus. I think that's 65-74. Those two matches, I think we could get bonus, and those guys really wrestled well against Pitt. If they can continue to put points on the scoreboard like that, we should be able to get bonus. What I don't want to see is, okay, let's look at this. Just because Patrick Kennedy's ranked second and this MJ Gayton is ranked as high as 11th, and they wrestled each other last year, and Patrick only beat him 14-3. It doesn't have to be a close match again. It doesn't have to be. I was just talking to Patrick about this after the duel against Pitt. Like, his wrestling has gotten so much better from the end of the year last year, which he was an All-American, to this year. Just because something was close in the past, or on paper it shows that both guys are ranked, whatever, who cares? Doesn't matter. And so it doesn't have to be close. Same thing at 174 or 165 with Caliendo, and he's wrestling who is Caliendo? Caliendo's wrestling that Connor Eaton, and he beat him last year 12-7 in the duel. So I mean, he put up 12 points on him last year. I don't know why he had to give up 7, but those are two matches where we could win bonus. I know that it could possibly come down to 97 in heavyweight. So I think for Iowa State, those are two matches that they're going to, in order for Iowa State to win the duel, those are two matches they are going to have, for one. And two, going in, are they going to need bonus at one of them or both of them possibly to win the duel as well too? So I think those two matches are key, but I think it's up to the Hawks to get their job done up before that point, get their homework done, and it will really help if we get bonus at a couple of weights. But even right out of the gate at 125, that's going to be a barn burner of a match between our portal transfer and their portal transfer. Neither of these guys wrestled in this dual meet last year, but they wrestled each other at the NCAAs last year with that's Dean Peterson, who was at Rutgers, and then you've got that Poland, Steve Poland, who transferred in from UNC, University of Northern Colorado. They wrestled each other at NCAAs last year, and Poland beat Peterson 7-6. So I mean, that was a 1-point match, and neither one of them will be wearing the same color singlet they were last year when they wrestled each other. And I guarantee you, neither one of them have ever been in a environment like what they're going to be in come Saturday at high noon. And I'm hoping that it's the first match out of the gate too. I hope that they start at 25. It's on regular at ESPN. I just hope that they start at 25.
You're right. There's so many matches we could talk about. A guy I'm really become a favorite of is Ryder Block.
Yeah.
And 49. Interestingly, Jacob Frost won a wrestle off against Panero Johnson, who was ranked number 2 in the country. So Block is going to get whoever they send out there on Iowa State side. Ryder Block is going to get a test, but I really like this kid.
I do too. And we talked a little bit about last week after the national duels, and it showed again when we wrestled Pitt. I mean, he's healthy finally, and he's up a weight class. He's not pulling a bunch of weight. And honestly, that's probably why Frost got Panero Johnson in the wrestle off as well too, is because of, the weight that Panero Johnson has to pull in order to get down to 49. And that was one of the things I was going to talk about, whereas that gives Ryder Block a big opportunity if he wrestles Panero Johnson the longer the match goes on, the better the chance is for Ryder Block to win that match. Panero is such an amazing athlete, super explosive, extremely powerful, but he has a hard time holding up 7 minutes. It's early in the season. He's only got like 3 or 4 matches in, and I know he pulls a lot of weight. And so Ryder Block, he doesn't have an issue. Like he'll go 12 minutes if he has to, So I think that's one thing that will really benefit us the longer the match goes. We just can't give up near fall in the meantime, give up like 2 or 3 takedowns. But maybe they put out Frost too now they won the wrestle off. That's going to be an interesting decision that Coach Dresser has to make going into that match.
How did Keeter look?
Keeter,
in your opinion?
It's funny that you asked me that, and I just think I was like, should I say it?
Nah.
But you guys like behind the scenes stuff, so I go down beforehand. I work out, and so after the meet's over on Friday, I go into the locker room to get my workout gear and stuff like that or whatever. And Keeter's in there, and as soon as I walk in, Keeter's like, Ironside, you must hate calling my matches because I can't even score a takedown. Like they got to be so boring. I'm like, kinda. I mean, it helps to score points. That's for sure. It makes a lot. I said, and Gabe Arnold was standing right there, who had a phenomenal match. I said, you know how fun it is? Ask Gabe Arnold how fun it is to score points. Now, granted, the the competition level was a little bit different there. But Keeter, the thing about Keeter, he has it up here. He knows what he has to do. Like, next thing you know, we're kind of talking, and the things that he was saying that he needs to do is exactly to a T what I was saying on air during his match. Like, he knows what he has to do. And he comes over and he's starting to like get a tie on me in the locker room. And he's like putting his hand, like, I got to move this hand. I got to do this. It's like, yeah, I mean, he knows it. He gets it. But when he gets out there, it just doesn't translate. It doesn't overlap onto the actual mat. And that's the hard thing about wrestling. That's why sometimes you have good practicing wrestlers. And you have sometimes, but they don't perform out on the mat because you get out there, you get in limelight, especially in a place like Hilton Coliseum. It could come down to where it's that match. And think about all the pressure. Think about all the pressure on that kicker for Iowa last Saturday. I mean, that is a lot of pressure, but that's also, I was talking to my mom and we're watching the Iowa football game. She's like, oh my God, think about all the pressure on him. Oh my gosh. My mom, this is what he stands there and kicks field goal after field goal after field goal and putting in his mind and thinking about and put himself in a position. This is where you want it. You want the kick or the ball in your hands at this time. Or Ben Keeter, you want the match in your hands right now. You want to be the hero. That is the mentality of a wrestler. That's what you want. That's what you train for. That's what you think about. And it could very possible. And if you're not thinking about that and you don't want it, then you know what? Hang up your shoes because you probably shouldn't be out there. I mean, that's what you live for, so, but the thing about Keeter that's what he really has to do a good job of, Bastidas put a ton of weight on for a heavyweight. He is big. He used to be a 97-pounder, and he's big. But I don't think that he's used to moving that kind of weight around, and he's going to get tired if we make it a wrestling match. We have to make it a wrestling match in order for him to get tired. We have to create angles. We got to do a lot of snapping and pulling and moving and faking and getting in shots and creating scrambles. We have to wrestle in order to get him tired. And if we can do that as the match goes on, I really know firmly, I believe that Keeter's going to come out on top because I'm not worried about Keeter's conditioning. But if we just go out and we just let him get a takedown in right away and then stall the rest of the match out or wait till the very end and we don't push him at all, we just hang out because we don't want to make a mistake or take a risk, you know what? Flip the coin every time, and you can't let it come down to that.
Mark, we talked about the domination that Iowa has enjoyed the last 2 decades, actually last parts of 4 decades, and the fact, in your opinion, that Iowa State loves to hate Iowa, on and on and on. It's a big match for Iowa State. Let's flip it around. You don't want to be the Iowa team that loses to Iowa State. Is that the approach?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe a little bit, I guess, but I honestly, it never even dawned on me. It never even crosses my mind. Like, I don't want to be on that team. Because I just don't think about losing. Like, I mean, it could be a motivation for these guys. I'm sure they know the streak. I know that what's involved. But more so, I guess the mentality should just be going out and just take care of business and winning and I'm not trying to play, Mr. Cool. I don't think about that or whatever. I just honestly never even thought about that. I mean, but yeah, you wouldn't want to be on that team. That's for sure. That, it breaks the 20, match losing streak or winning streak, I guess, so hey, I'll say this, whatever motivates you to freaking go out and wrestle and put points on the board, then all the power to you.
Ayala Frost.
What was that one last year? I got it right here. That was Drake winning that one 11-7. And Frost is scrappy, man. Those Frost brothers they're tough. I mean, they're just tough kids. And they're tough wrestlers. So that's going to be no, park walk for Drake Ayala. But Drake looked a lot better against Pitt the other night than he did last weekend at the Tulsa Nationals. So,
Mark, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mark.
I have something offbeat, and it's it's the time of year to eat, right? Thanksgiving and whatnot. We've got that. I don't want to talk so much about eating on Thanksgiving, but you have often talked about, um, proper nutrition for wrestlers. I don't know what that means. I don't know what wrestlers eat. I know they don't stop at the donut shop on the way to practice.
Better
And
not
I know
be.
they, well, you can't be with them 24/7, right? But a serious question though. It probably means different things to different people. Like Keeter probably eats different than somebody who's right around weight all the time. But what do these guys eat? What does proper nutrition mean?
Well, um, well, like I said earlier when we first got on air, you got to eat in moderation. Moderation is key. You can't just go into a big Thanksgiving meal and just stuff your face, even if it's good stuff. You can't just say, "Oh, this is good, so let's just go ahead and just eat a bunch of it." It has to be in moderation. And the biggest thing is just not putting yourself in a position where it's tempting. I know that, when I was competing in high school and in college, I there was years like we had a huge Thanksgiving feast at my house on old Victoria Drive down in the basement where we have 40, 50 family members over. And I didn't attend for years. Like, didn't even attend. I was gone that day hunting because I didn't want to be around. I would go in, I'd get my workout in, and then get my own little meal in. And I would gone hunting because not that I didn't want to be around family or anything like that. I just wanted to stay where I needed to stay, and I didn't want to tempt myself, and I just went out hunting. But I know that Tom over the years has prepared Thanksgiving meals for those that are from out of state and you might not have family close or have a place to go, and he would have all the wrestling team members, anybody and everybody that wants to come over for Thanksgiving, and all the wives and stuff like that would prepare really good, nutritious, healthy meals. As far as what you can eat, I mean, turkey's fine. I mean, turkey's plenty fine. Just try to stay away from the sweets. Vegetables are fine. Just your normal everyday. And I'm sure they have some different stuff too. Like some salmon and stuff that you wouldn't normally have probably on a Thanksgiving. And you know what? A slice of pie isn't too bad. Now a piece of pie, yeah, yeah. I mean, you just have to be smart about how much and what you eat. And the other thing is too is, they'll go into the room, they'll get a workout in that morning, then they'll have a nice Thanksgiving lunch or whatever, and then they'll go in and get a workout again that evening and work some of it off as well too. So I mean, they're smart with it. You just have to be really smart and put yourself in a position where you're not gonna overdo it.
Moderation. Pace and moderation, everybody. That is the key words of the Unash and Dukes podcast this week. Live it, learn it, know it. Oh, good stuff. Hey, big thanks to Kurt Gustafson, Agency of American Family Insurance, once again for sponsoring our segment with Mark Ironside each week. And Kurt is on Johnson Avenue Northwest, right across from the Johnson Avenue High V. And we couldn't do it without his support. So thanks to him out there. Hey, we saw that South Dakota State got Minnesota for the first time since 1974.
Wow.
They beat them.
Wow. I did not even see that. That's news to me. I didn't see that. That's wow.
Yep.
You and I almost got them at the national duels too. So, and Minnesota's got some really stud wrestlers on their team as well too. So, South Dakota State, they've had it going on. I think a huge jump for them, through the rankings over the years was our very own Tanner Sloan.
Yep.
He really helped spark plug that team, and Damian Hahn, and that was a great recruit for him. And you get the certain individuals in there that are good both on and off the mat from a team standpoint, and that really does and goes a long ways. And I think a lot of that's a tribute to guys like Tanner Sloan, who has an amazing work ethic. You talk about eating right, eating healthy, staying on the regimen. That's what you need is guys like that around.
Good job by the Jacks. Enjoy Hilton Coliseum.
I will. Are you guys going to be watching?
Absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
Watching and listening.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be very entertaining. I got a feeling, like I said, it's going to be a roller coaster of a dual meet. There's going to be a lot of hype. It's going to be a lot of buzz. It's going to be freezing cold outside that day. So everybody's going to be all toasted in, and and cannot wait for noon start to be sitting in their living rooms in some nice warm weather, eating some leftover turkey and watching that dual meet. So it's going to be very fun.
Wrestling weather. That's what we got.
It is wrestling weather for sure.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. We'll talk next week. Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a good Thanksgiving too. Thank you.
Okay, Mark.
Mark Ironside joining us. And again, big thanks to Kurt Gustafson, Agency of American Family Insurance, for helping out as the sponsor of Mark's appearance each week to talk college wrestling and Hawkeye wrestling with us. And not only that, we mentioned Emil's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor, but also a big thanks to Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology on Council Street Northeast in Cedar Rapids. Doc's been there for over 30 years, and he is the best. And check them out online or stop on by on Council Street Northeast. Also, thanks to Ben Ritter Sportswear, downtown Cedar Rapids. They're located at 817 2nd Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, or call 364-3479 or visit them at benritter.com. And also want to thank Hunt Graphic Innovations. They're coming on now. That's our website guy, Todd Hunt, a great Jayhawk, and does a tremendous job with the crmlivesports.com website. And if you want the personal touch that counts with your website and about creating an eye-catching one, or need assistance in graphic design for print newsletters, posters, signs, or banners, Hunt Graphic Innovations has the experience to help get the job done with personal attention and competitive pricing. Discover the difference with Hunt Graphic Innovations and Todd Hunt. And, thanks to Todd for coming on board. Before we go, we wanted to talk about this, Mark, a little bit. With it being, and we go from college wrestling, college basketball, because it is Feast Week. It is the put stuff money in your pocket tournament week, at least for one tournament. That would be the one in Las Vegas. 16 teams. They split it up into two 8-team groups. And at the end, you play 2 games. At the end of the 2 games, there's a list of, much like wrestling, there's a list of criteria that you go through. And the top 4 teams get to play for $2 million. $2 million or $1 million, first and second. Then it drops down to what, 500,000, 250, something like that for the third and fourth place game. But if you get several teams that are 2-0, Mark, you're going to make some people unhappy. And that would be, to a certain extent, some Iowa State fans out there. And I can't blame them, but I guess you know what you were getting into. And when Iowa State played the 1-point game with a win against St. John's, that kind of relegated Iowa State outside looking in as far as the top 2 games are concerned, because whether you like it or not, margin of victory is right up there. So they were a little bit upset. The team that was upset was Tennessee, and their fans were, I don't know, did you talk to Rusty? Is he upset about Tennessee not getting into the top 4 in the Las Vegas basketball tournament?
I think Rusty's still in football mode, but this tournament is really interesting. I mean, if you're talking about Iowa State, had Syracuse instead of St. John's been one of the first 2 games, Iowa State would be playing in the championship for an extra $1 million. Now, the winner between Michigan and Gonzaga gets $1 million, and the runner-up gets $500,000. I think it's a best of both worlds. I really do, even though the criteria is messed up. Iowa State is 2 points. The difference between Kansas, which is playing in the third place game, and Iowa State is 2 points. And there are scenarios at the end of both of the last 2 games for those 2 teams that could have flipped it the other way. And therefore, Iowa State could have been playing for another $200,000-$300,000. But I think it's the best of both worlds because, number one, each of these teams gets paid $1 million for NIL. Bonus. Number 2, with Iowa State playing St. John's, Creighton, and Syracuse, that'll bode well at the end of the season when you talk about the net. They didn't play Chattanooga State and Nebraska Kearney and someone else.
Dan Lanning.
exactly. So in that respect, I think it's the best of both worlds. They're going to tweak the tournament next year. It's going to be 32 teams. It's going to be four pools of eight, and maybe they'll have a better set of criteria for the championship game. Um, this one's kind of messed up.
The Big 12 also bought into this tournament. So, of the 32 teams next year, the Big 12 is guaranteed 8 spots. In fact, the top 8 will go from this year's standings in, and they will be guaranteed a spot in Las Vegas next year. Now, that's got its own certain merits and certain things against it, because why would you want to play a team possibly for the third time, 3 times in one season? Iowa State did that last year with Colorado, if you recall.
Mhm.
I think it was Colorado. Anyway, off the subject a little bit, but there is a chance to play not one, but 2 Big 12 teams next year. My question is this: is it more important now, Mark, to win a basketball tournament, a prestigious basketball tournament, or is it more important to get your money and get paid?
The only tournament that matters is the one in the end.
And you don't
And
get
as a
paid that
and
much.
well, you get
It's
paid, but
the
you're
conference
gonna
gets paid.
yeah, and you get a slice of it. So I mean, you get a lot of teams would like of the 360 NCAA teams, a lot of them would have liked to have been in this field and get $1 million. That's a big benefit. I don't know how they slice it up or whatnot, but once again, I think this tournament, while Iowa State did not win it, it was 3-0. Played 2 games without Taman Lipsey. Was phenomenal in the second half against Syracuse, 60 points, I think it was. This is a really good Iowa State team, and I think these games where you can't go home with a trophy, you go home with $1 million and feeling pretty good about yourselves.
Everybody's getting paid that ended up in Las Vegas. We should start
Mhm.
off with that. Um, when you showed up, you got you got some money, and there's a reason why they have what 20 logos on the court in Las Vegas for those games or thereabouts. But you got to do that in this day and age. And
We saw
at the
wrestling do that this year a little bit.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you watch national duels, it was kind of the same thing. And it's going to pay off in the end. I'll use Iowa State as an example because, as you mentioned, they got 3 more than likely quad 1 wins. Although I think in the end, I think Syracuse is going to end up as a quad 2 before it's all said and done. And Creighton's struggling right now, and their fan base is going nuts about 2 certain guys not performing real well. We'll just leave it at that. Um, I think Creighton's going to end up being a quad 1 at the end of the year, but certainly St. John's is going to be a quad 1. And Iowa State came out great, 3-0 in the tournament. Iowa State, by the way, I like this team because they got grit. This is a bring your lunch pail to work group that's got talent as well. The Frenchman is really good. That freshman.
All right. Yeah.
The it's not the flashy team with Gilbert and the rest of them from a year ago, but this team I think plays tougher. And I really like Iowa State. No, they did not have a chance to play for the $1 million, which is irritating reading some of the comments from Iowa State fans. I guess it'd be a great world if you could have your cake and eat it too, but sometimes you can't. But again, would you rather win the tournament, get your money, or get 3 quality wins like that? It's the scenario we're going to be looking at for these tournaments from here on in, because as you said, 32 teams are going to be there next year. Look at what has happened to Maui and the battle for Atlantis. I mean, Maui's got Arizona State and USC playing for their championship. And you remember the days it was Kansas, North Carolina, and
Sure.
things like that. They had 7 rated teams. Chaminade's back in it because they couldn't get an 8th team. They played this year. Almost got a victory, by the way. Wasn't against Ralph Sampson in Virginia, but almost got a win in that Battle for Atlantis. There were teams lined up. Iowa Villanova played in the championship a few years ago down there in the Bahamas. And now, I mean, they've got South Florida. They've got Virginia Commonwealth, nothing against the Rams or the Bulls or anything like that. This isn't, 6 top 20 teams that used to line up to go to Atlantis. They're lining up to get out of there now to go to Las Vegas and get paid. So again, is it better to get paid or win a tournament? I guess it's in this day and age, Mark, I got to say it's better to get paid.
I do too. And if these other tournaments want to keep up, I have to believe that they're going to have to, come up with some money and pay teams for NIL, much like this tournament in Vegas. Otherwise, everybody's going to want to be playing in Vegas. They're going to go where the money is. Vegas is where the money is normally anyway, but
A lot of people
in
leave
basketball, in basketball sense, yeah, right. But doesn't Maui and the other tournaments have to do that to compete? Otherwise, they're going to be
Yeah.
more second rate than they already are.
They're going to have to start doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a doubt. And if they want to stay alive, if they want to get quality teams there, Iowa playing in the Acrisure, which is a 2-group 8-team event, and which has got a decent field, but it's nothing like what they had in Las Vegas. It's on par with Atlantis. It's on par with Maui. Iowa playing Ole Miss. Great win for the Hawkeyes. Bennett Sturts was terrific in that ball game. Beware of Grand Canyon, by the way. That is just not a cutesy little team. They brought 4,000 people. They are the nuttiest, craziest fan following group in America. And Iowa fans, I think, are going to see that with Grand Canyon, who is now in the Mountain West, Mark, as you probably know, if you follow college basketball. They went from the WAC to the Mountain West this year. So they're playing with the big boys. So this is, and Coach Drew of the Drew family is very, very knowledgeable in the game of basketball. So I think that's going to be a fun one. But Iowa and others, I think they want to follow the money. And that's always going toward Las Vegas, isn't it?
It has up till now, but I think it was a really solid win for the Iowa Hawkeyes in beating Ole Miss. And while it may not be a team that makes the Sweet 16 again, Chris Beard's a heck of a coach. And I think it's going to be quite competitive. And Grand Canyon, it's better than playing Eastern Illinois. Okay. It's going to be good for your resume and good for the experience of this Iowa basketball team. Cooper Kotz really came through in the game against Ole Miss, and I like a lot of aspects of this team. I just don't know if they got some shortcomings. I think inside, they're going to be vulnerable because Falgaris, while he's 6'10", he's more of a forward, and I don't know that if Iowa has the strength inside, they're going to have to win games other ways, unless I'm proven wrong, and that's possible.
A lot of
Gail Combs, solid basketball player.
Yeah, he is solid. Going to be, hey, great start. Iowa State, and UNI right now are all undefeated. And if you have not watched the UNI Panthers play basketball, do yourself a favor and watch them because they blew the doors off of Loyola on Tuesday night by 30. By the way, personal note, Loyola, Wichita State, you should have never left the Missouri Valley Conference. Period. End of story. End of transmission.
Yeah.
As the kids like to say. All right. Good episode, Mark. Again, thanks to Emil's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor. Big thanks to Hunt Graphic Innovations, Ben Ritter Sportswear, as well as American Family Insurance, and all our great sponsors, Dr. John Woolner and Epiphany Dermatology on Council Street Northeast as well. And you and yours have a great Thanksgiving, Mark, and we'll talk next week.
You as well. Everybody have a good holiday.
All right. You've been watching and listening to the Unash and Dukes podcast. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.